Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get started in just a minute. Morning, everyone. For those of you who just joined us, thanks so much. We're going to get this started just 1 minute. Give everybody a chance to get in. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for our Title I spring presentation. I want to welcome everyone to our Zoom meeting. We hope that this is convenient for you to meet us on Zoom to hear a little information about the Title I and federal programs. My name's Michelle Lutz. I'm the Director of Support Services. I'm joined here today by some of our Title I reading specialists from both Enfield and Erdenheim. And so we're gonna get this kicked off. I want to offer everyone who's on here the opportunity to introduce themselves. So I guess I'll start with Rachel, since you're first in my box.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel DeCrescio. I'm one of the reading specialists at Enfield.
Nicole, you're next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Earhart. I'm one of the reading specialists at Enfield as well.
Patty?
Hi, I'm Patty Van Zanten, and I'm also a reading specialist here at Enfield. Good morning.
And Krista?
Good morning. I'm Krista Lynch, one of the reading specialists at Erdenheim Elementary.
And Amy, you want to introduce yourself as well?
Sure. Hi, I'm Amy Ambler. I am the head of youth services at the Free Library of Springfield Township, so our local public library.
Thanks, everyone. I also want to put a plug in for Dr. Markle. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to join us this morning, but Dr. Markle is the principal of Enfield Elementary School. I'm sure most of the parents on the screens are familiar with her. So just real quick, I want to go over a Title I overview. Title I is a federally funded program. What that means is that we, as a district, get money from the federal government in order to provide additional services for students in need. And so as a district, we have determined that those funds are best used to provide reading specialists for students who need some additional support. Those funds are strictly based on our students who are eligible for free and reduced lunch. That's what drives those dollars into our district. And we really want to help students support literacy, support founding grades to make sure that they have a solid foundation as they move along. If your child is in Title I, that means they're receiving differentiated instruction to meet their individual needs. They have small group opportunities, and they also get continuous progress monitoring, which you see because it comes home with your students at points during the school year. The Reading Center is designed to provide well-trained reading specialists to support the instruction of your students. It's also a really comfortable environment that kids really enjoy coming to, so we can help support that literacy growth. And there's various reading interventions that can be used. Again, it ties back to the individual needs of your child and how we can best support them. I just want to do a quick plug. Everything that we do is aligned to the Common Core standards. So in reading, our literature really focuses on ensuring that students are gaining that knowledge and they're getting adequate exposure to a large range of texts. So you'll see on the side here, and you'll actually get a copy of this presentation. It's included in the QR code, but this way you'll be able to see some of those Common Core standards that we're working on, like asking and answering questions about details in text or actively engaging in group activities, being able to name the author and the illustrator of a text that your child is reading. So those are the things that our reading specialists are really focusing on and trying to drive home to students as they're working with them. Okay. As part of our Title I resources and our federal programming, we have to make sure that we have an equity plan that addresses our student needs. And so I wanted to provide you a copy. You can use your phone, pull out your camera and do the QR code, or when you get this presentation, you can use the link that's in the presentation to click on the equity plan for our federal programs. We also have a parent and family engagement policy that is sent home every year. So what we'd like to do is make sure that we provide you with that plan and that policy so that you're aware of the work that we're doing. And if you ever have feedback on any of those documents, you can certainly pass that along to me so that we can make sure that we're hearing your feedback and updating things. You received, as part of your child coming into federal programs, the school parent compact. And so that also is linked on here for you so that you can see that information as well. But you received a personalized copy that you also signed and returned in order for your child to participate in the Title I program. Okay. So just so you know, as a district, we receive what's known as Title I, Title II, and Title IV funds. Like I said, the Title I funds are utilized to provide those reading specialists at Enfield. We actually take our Title IV funds. We don't receive a lot, so we get about $200,000 total across all of those title funds. So we take our Title IV funds, which amounts to about $30,000, and we actually lump it back in with Title I to help bulk up that money. And then our Title II funds are actually shared between ourselves and non-public schools. So we actually take our share of the Title II funds and we lump it back into Title I as well. And that just really helps us support those reading specialists to make sure that, you know, we have those services available for students. I meet quarterly with the non-public schools. Their Title II funds allow them to participate in trainings through the MCIU, which is the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit that oversees all of the school districts here in Montgomery County. They can go and they can get training there so that they're providing effective programming. And so that's how we have utilized our title funds. And so we budget accordingly for that. Before I turn this over to our reading specialists, I wanted to put the summer strategies. Again, you're going to get a copy of this, but as they're talking along, if you wanted to, you can use that QR code so that you can see some of the activities that they're referring to. But like I said, you're going to actually get a copy of this sent to you so that you'll have all of these activities at your fingertips. Okay. And now I'm going to turn it over to our reading specialists.
All right, good morning, everyone. Again, I'm Rachel DeCrescio. I'm one of the reading specialists at Enfield. I just want to share with you that research shows that some students do experience a loss in academic skills over the summer break from school. So our goal today is to share some ways that you can support your child over the summer months to either avoid or limit that loss of academic skills. So we're going to talk mainly about 4 different ways to prevent the summer slide today. They are reading aloud to your child, helping your child to choose appropriate books for them to read, giving them opportunities to write, and then helping them to practice and acquire high-frequency words. So we're going to start with reading aloud to your child. I want to say that try to make it fun, routine, a time that you both look forward to enjoying together. Maybe you're choosing to read together every night before bed, or maybe right after lunch. It depends. You know your child best. Choose a time, though, that you can easily commit to on a regular basis. When you're reading to your child, I recommend that you share your ideas, your thoughts, new words, questions that you might have, and discoveries, really through conversations about the books that you're reading. And one of the reasons it is so beneficial to read to your child is because you can read books that they can't quite read yet themselves. By reading something a little bit more challenging, you are exposing your child to new vocabulary words and concepts that they don't see in books that they can read on their own. You might read brochures about places that you're going to travel to over the summer. You can read recipes or directions for a project that you might be creating at home. It doesn't always just have to be a picture book. If you do have a chance to take some small day trips this summer, maybe to a museum, a zoo, an aquarium, maybe even a Phillies game, or just a walk along Forbidden Drive, talk with your child about what they see and encourage that questioning. That will help build their background knowledge. Even learning about maybe the rules of a baseball game or what kinds of plants and animals might be outside along the Wissahickon will help your child learn about the world around them. They can take that knowledge and the vocabulary and pair it with texts that they're reading on that topic. You could even maybe check out the library and choose a book to dive a little bit deeper into those different topics. Another way, oops, my lights are going off. Another way to get your child interested in reading stories is listening to stories. So that takes the pressure off of you, and you can listen to audiobooks. Audible has several free books available, as well as an app called Libby that's connected with the library. Again, another free resource to you. So if you are reading a chapter book possibly to your child at home, maybe you're reading a chapter of that at home, but then maybe they're listening to a chapter on that audiobook as well. You could go back and forth like that until you finish the book. If you get a chance to take any long car rides this summer, you could have the kids listen to audiobooks in between, maybe watching movies is just another idea. Listening to stories really supports that visualization piece while providing a model for fluent reading. Your child needs opportunities to create those mental images in their mind because they won't always be reading stories that have pictures as they grow older. They'll need to rely on their own visualizations while they are reading to comprehend. Reading aloud to your child or listening to audiobooks together really allows for that discussion too. So asking your child about some of the characters or the events, not necessarily to quiz them, but again, just to engage them in that conversation is a great tool to use. All of that conversation, again, builds your child's oral vocabulary, their language skills, and their comprehension. So maybe you want to keep some books in the car for your child as well to read during those trips. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Patty Van Zanten.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for attending this morning session. The summer slide is a real thing. Research does show that children who do not read during the summer can lose up to 3 months of reading progress. So reading as well as writing need to be made a priority in the summer. We can look at reading as brain food. Rachel just shared with us the importance of building prior knowledge. Our brains develop as we feed them experiences, and reading for as little as 20 minutes a day can contribute to this brain growth. Our next slide is a great visual of the importance of reading for 20 minutes. It's broken into student A, B, and C. And as you can see, a student that reads for 20 minutes a day is reading for 3,600 minutes a school year, and that's like 1,800,000 words. Student B, who's only reading for 5 minutes, is only 900 minutes in a school year and reading 282,000 words. And then we have student C, who's only reading 1 minute a day, and the equivalent is 180 minutes in a school year and only 8,000 words. So basically, by the end of the school year, you can determine which student would be expected to have more success in school and then throughout their life. All right, so our next slide, we want to empower our children to read. The summertime is a great time to tap into your child's interests. And when it comes to reading a book, we want to make sure that they're reading a just right book for them. And we have this acronym IPIC. So the purpose for IPIC is to figure out why your child wants to read. Do they want to read to be entertained? Do they want to read for information? And that can determine whether they want to read a nonfiction book or a fiction. We want to make sure they're alternating back and forth. And what are their interests? Honing into what are you interested in learning about? Are there, maybe you could come up with a list of questions at the beginning of the summer of some things that they want to research or some things that they're interested in. I know my boys were always interested in why do lightning bugs light up at night? So just honing in on their interests and choosing books that interest them. And then obviously we want them to comprehend and understand what they're reading. And we want to use a 5-finger rule where they know most of the words that they're reading if they're trying to read on their own so that they're not frustrated. A child can turn to a page and begin reading, and they should be able to read all of the words on the page and not know 3 to 5 of them. That would be a good fit for them. So our last slide is we don't want children to just read words. It's very important. It's crucial that they're making meaning of what they're reading. So discussing the story with your child is a great way to ensure that they're understanding and comprehending what they're reading. Here are some examples of talking about the book before, during, and after. So before the book, before opening the book, you can talk about, what do you think the book will be about? What characters do you think will be there? And then during, why do you think the character did such and such? How would you feel if this happened to you? And after reading, they can obviously retell the story. You can ask them what some important events were, if there was a lesson to be learned. But this is a time for you to share your joy of reading and just having a discussion about the text. One of my favorite questions to ask my kids are, if you were invited to the main character's birthday party, what gift would you bring them? And it opens up a discussion of, why you chose that gift, why you think that person would enjoy having that gift or what they would use it for. And kids always like to change the ending. They love to change the ending to make it their own. Lastly, there is a direct correlation between students who are good readers and how well they can form ideas and write. So we have Nicole Earhart coming up next to discuss the importance of summer writing and some activities that you can do over the summer. Thank you.
Thanks, Patty. Like she mentioned, I'm Mrs. Earhart. I am also one of the Enfield reading specialists, and I'm going to kind of wrap us up with how we can practice our writing over the summer. So all school year long, whether your students were with us or if they were with their classroom teacher, we really were emphasizing the quality of writing. We were going down to the mechanics, making sure students had procedures for figuring out words that they needed to use in their writing, such as their spelling. We were saying the word, tapping out each of the sounds, and then connecting those sounds with the letters that represent them. We were also working on things like grammar and making sure that each student had the proper handwriting and letter formation. Over the summer, we're asking that families kind of take the shift over to the quantity of their writing, helping your child think about the meaning and overall purpose of writing. So you can turn to the next slide. Some ways that you can do this is by connecting writing to everyday life. Over the summer, you can take some time to help your child maybe create a grocery list with you. If you know there's a party or an event that's coming up, having them go through the planning aspect of what items are we going to need to successfully have our event. Helping them point out the words on their list when you're actually showing up to the grocery store later that day. You can also have your student or your child write a birthday card or a letter to somebody in their family, or maybe they're missing their friends that they're not seeing every day, like when they're in school. So you can have them write a letter to their friend and send it out in the mail. Another good idea that you can have might be something like a comic book strip, or even just keeping an everyday summer journal of the things that they're doing at home, at camp, any vacations or trips that you might take with them. The other thing that we wanted to address when it comes to writing is practicing those trick words. So we passed out a trick word list in the beginning of our Title I groups. Classroom teachers have sent them home, but then also it's a part of that QR code that was mentioned in the beginning of our presentation. Our trick words are the words that students need to know to access their reading and writing, that they might not be able to tap out the sound. So some examples of that are on the left, like the, what, and from. The E, A, and O in those words are those tricky parts that if a child were to try to tap out a word like the, they're going to hear and think maybe I need to write the U. And so you can't follow those normal spelling procedures that you typically go to as a reader and writer. Instead, what we're going to be doing with those trick words is we want to not only practice them in our reading, but also practice them in our writing through a multi-sensory approach. When you're not just sitting there with flashcards and going through them, but using them in your writing as well, your brain has a better ability to really solidify it in your child's memory. And so, Michelle, you can actually skip this one as well. And so some fun ways that you can do that over the summer. I'm going to kind of break it down to like the free option, the budget-friendly option, and then some more creative ones that might have you taking a little trip to the dollar store. So the first thing is the skywriting. If you attended our fall meeting, we went over what skywriting is in that meeting. And it basically is having your child take, and it's going to be a little bit harder since we're on Zoom. They're taking two fingers, they're sticking their arm out as wide as they can, and they're either writing the letter that they're working on or the word fully in the sky. As they're writing it in the sky, they're also saying those letters that spell the word out loud. Another way that you can practice these trick words over the summer is in the middle picture. You can have the words that your child needs to focus on in chalk, either on the pavement, on your sidewalk. They can then go in and use a water bottle or a paintbrush with water to then trace the letters and erase them as they're spelling them out loud. And then another favorite practice of mine, in the picture you see a little sand or salt box that you can create. You can even use like a baking sheet at home where they're taking their finger and they're writing in that sand to get more of that sensory input as they practice. However, if you're like me and you spend lots of your summer down the shore, you can take a shovel and do the same thing in the sand. If your kids like to play in the mud, like my 4-year-old, you can even like be courageous and have them practice tracing those letters in some mud or dirt as well, just getting that extra sensory feedback. The biggest thing is over the summer while we're practicing them, making it a fun like approach in a game. Yep, that's all we have for the writing aspect. These resources are again linked at the end of the presentation on this slide as well. And I'm going to turn it over to Amy, who's our librarian at the local township library.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Thanks to everyone at the school district for having me here. I just wanted to let you know about some of the resources we have for you to help support your child during the summer. So first of all, we obviously have a lot of reading materials. If you don't already have a library card, it's free to get one. You just need to come in person with your proof of residency in the township. That can be a driver's license, or it can be, a bill or a piece of mail, with your name and address on it. That's fine as well. So we obviously have a wide variety of print books. I'm always happy to help parents and children find materials they need. I did also want to highlight some other things that we have. The Libby app was mentioned. That is an app that you can use for once you have your library card for audiobooks and also ebooks on your own devices. In addition, we have physical audiobooks here at the library. Currently have a mix of audiobooks on CD, if anybody still has CD players in their car or old CD players at home. But we do also have things called playaways, which are self-contained audiobooks, and you just need a pair of headphones and a AA battery. And that way, you know, sometimes your kids can be listening to different things in the car, or if you're on a trip, those are great options for that as well. We do have electronic resources through our website called Tumble Books and Bookflix. Those are ones where you can read along with picture book stories. They are available, there's options available in both English and Spanish for that. And the main thing I wanted to mention is our summer reading program. So that is where students can earn prizes just for doing reading over the summer. So we hope that it will be a little bit of extra motivation to get them interested by giving them rewards. We have coupons to local businesses and free books that they can earn throughout the summer. And the goal of the program focuses on the consistency that the reading specialists were talking about. So that not necessarily about the total number of hours or books that you're reading, but the fact that you're reading every day. So our benchmarks are number of days read, you know, so some days you might be reading a little more than others, and that's okay. So the rewards come at every 10 days of reading. And you can join the summer reading program either online. We use Beamstack, which is an online reading tracker, or you can visit the library. We also have paper reading logs, a little calendar that you can mark off the days that you're doing some reading. The online tracker also has a mobile app if that's easier for people. And all of this you can do starting on June 5th. And the QR code on this slide does link to our library website. So that's always a good resource to find all the details about our programs. And one program that's going to go throughout the summer, but that you can actually sign up for starting now if you want, is Tail Wagging Tutors, which is reading aloud to a certified therapy dog. So it's just a really fun, relaxed setting where the kids can read and pet the dog, and they're reading to the dog, and they don't necessarily feel pressure that they might feel in other situations. It's just a great opportunity for them. So if you're interested in that, stop by the library or give us a call. And otherwise, check our website for all the summer information. Thanks.
Before I talk about the survey, I just want to recognize Krista Lynch, who's on here, and she is one of the reading specialists at Erdenheim. Krista, I don't know if you have any messages for some of the families that may be transitioning over to Erdenheim for next year.
Sure, I can say that you're in great hands currently at Enfield. Myself and the other reading specialists, we work closely with the reading specialists at Enfield. We have transition meetings. They'll share all the data and the growth that your student has made. And then what we do is we give the students a week or two to ease back in, and then we do our universal screening. And then we'll determine if we have, we call it tier 2 over here at Enfield. We do not have Title I services in grades 3, 4, and 5. And so what we would do is it would be communicated if your child does qualify for some sort of remediation support. There will be a letter sent home. And I truly believe in the partnership between home, school, and students. So please email me if you have any questions after this meeting. I'm happy to support you and your student.
Thanks. One final piece is that we're always looking for parent and guardian feedback. You know, part of federal programs is working with our families to determine what's best for students. So you'll see a QR link on here. It's both in English and Spanish for any families who may need that. And this is your opportunity to provide us with feedback on our federal programs. So we will start writing our next grant beginning in June. And so we would love to have your feedback as to what you think we might use our dollars on. So you can complete that. Again, this will also come home to you today, so you can click once you get the presentation, you'll be able to click on the link in here as well. Okay. And now we'll open up the floor if any family members have any questions for us or for the any of the reading specialists or for Amy. Questions? Okay, if you have more of a personal question, up there's somebody. Go ahead, Ms. Rivers. Can you?
Hi, good morning, and thank you for having this program this morning. My grandson still is struggling with writing and having it consistent. Is there a place I can get a pad of the paper that you write on that has the worm at the bottom and the plane at the top? You know what paper I'm talking about? That
I can
helps
make
guide
sure
them.
yeah, I can send some home with him.
Okay,
I can
thanks.
either
I
get some to his
appreciate that.
classroom teacher, or I can just drop it off directly.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I appreciate
No
it.
problem.
Any other questions?
I would also like some of that paper for my daughter.
Paper's popular.
Yeah, it really is. I think it helps with her figuring out where, the different points of the letter where it goes. So,
Thanks.
and I was also wondering, so I got this flyer about the summer reading skills programs that Temple University offers. I was wondering if you guys think that's something that we should look into, or if you think that the techniques that you guys were discussing today would be sufficient.
I can speak. I'm not familiar with the program. I know that you can call out and get an idea of what they have to offer. I don't think I would sign up blindly. I'm sure it's a popular program. We get flyers each year for it. I have not met anyone that has gone through that program. I'm not even sure how many hours, but obviously it's beneficial. I find with my own children and my own experience that I have all these great ideas of what I'm going to do over the summer, and then time gets in the way and I'm not as consistent as I would have liked to have been. So a program like that kind of holds accountability for you to drop them off and to be reassured that they're actually reading and writing. So I think it would be a personal choice. I don't think you can go wrong by attending the sessions.
Patty, I
Thank you.
agree with you. I can also share that I do know that there are some Enfield students that are already enrolled in the program for the summer. So if that helps to ease any concerns, there may be a familiar face there too.
Any other questions? If you do have personal questions, you can feel free to reach out to your child's reading specialist. They're always happy to engage with you. And other than that, I want to thank everybody for attending. Like I said, you'll get an email with all this information, a copy of the presentation, a recording of the presentation, everything you could ever hope for. So thanks again for taking time out of your day to join us today. I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Hold on, let me stop the recording.